Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the land of the rising sun. The sun rises on a new PMRL season. We are here for the first race of the season at Fuji Speedway in Fuji, Japan, for the first time ever of IndyCar racing around this legendary Japanese track. We are here for season number 4 of the Prime Radian Racing League. It is my second broadcasting, and I am delighted to be back as well. It was looking like I wasn't going to be for a little while, but we are here after all. So, cars currently out on the track for qualifying. And let's get into the business right away, shall we? So let's take a quick look at the circuit before we go into the qualifying session itself. You can see located in Fuji, Japan, 16 turns, 10 to the right and 6 to the left. Plenty of passing zones as well, by the way. Look at that long straightaway down into turn 1. That is the start and main straight as well, so that's going to be the main overtaking opportunity. You can also really overtake well into turn 3 if you stick the car up the inside. If you do a dive bomb, you can do it into turn 6 or even turn 10. And if you're feeling extra brave, you can dive bomb it into turn 16 like Massa and Kubica did in 2008 or 2007, sorry, in the Formula 1 race there. But pit lane speed, 37 miles per hour. 60 kilometers per hour, 2.835 miles is the circuit length, that is 4.563 kilometers. 10 pushes of push to pass are on offer for the drivers to try and boost, and 8 overtaking down these straightaways. But going into this race, a lot of unknowns. Just like the fuel numbers, we literally don't have any numbers here regarding the fuel situation. So it's going to be a big guessing game for myself here tonight, as I try to work everything out in terms of tire and fuel strategy. But that's going to be fun to keep an eye on. So as I said, this is the first race of the season. Want to thank Voppzy iRacing Paints as well for once again sponsoring and making the graphics and all of that stuff. Looking at the schedule here for season number 4 this season, starting tonight at Fuji Speedway. We go to Iowa next week, which is going to be the second time we go there. Then we go to Imola for the first time before we have 2 weeks off until we go to the first Triple Crown race at Indianapolis. Then we have Mid-Ohio on the 24th of August before the second Triple Crown race at Michigan. Then before another week off until the final 2 races at Pocono and Road America. So that is the schedule. As I mentioned, Voppzy iRacing Paints made this graphic, and whilst we're at it, let's have a quick look at the slideshow as well. Vilda does great iRacing paints. You can check her out on Instagram at Voppzy iRacing. And as you can see in the slideshow right here, not just IndyCar paints, but plenty of other stuff that she does. So as I said, check it out. Voppzy iRacing is the place to be on Instagram. Alright, let's go into qualifying then, as the cars have been turning laps for around 5 minutes so far, as we pick up Eric O'Connor. There he is. And I've got something else that you guys might enjoy. Just takes a second to load in. Then I'm gonna load it in here as well on OBS. It should pop up any second now, but it's basically the car numbers in the timing tower. It's the exact same as iRacing has on the cars itself. So you can see 74 in Eric's car here will be the same font and same style as it is on the car in the timing tower, and there it is. Trying to spot the 74 on the timing tower. I think Eric will be finishing his first lap just now, and there it is in P number 5. So if you're new to the PMRL, we have a 20-minute open qualifying session on the road and street courses, which is going to be 2 laps or 5 minutes on the ovals. Then of course we have the race itself. The drivers already had 30 minutes to practice and warm up, so they are going straight into it. And doing that around this place is quite difficult actually. I did turn some laps myself. It is so difficult to really nail every corner around this place, not just because it's new, but the corners are all so different and difficult to look at the yellow sausage curves on the inside there. Those are so easy to hit because you're trying to make the track as wide as possible, carry as much speed as you can, of course, like you usually would, but around this place, this being an FIA Grade 1 circuit, you have all these sausage curbs and whatever you call them. or even baguette strips, some people call them. You have them all over the place, so hitting those, like Eric is doing right there, you can get away with it once or twice, but you don't want to do it much more than that, because it can damage the front wing and or even the under tray of the car, which of course means very bad news if you speak any language that is close to racing and cars, as we have the first bot in chat. That didn't take too long. Gonna try to get rid of those as soon as possible. But currently, Daniel Dinsdale on the provisional pole time in the number 4 SMS racing car. And whilst I talk about that, let's quickly go over all the teams. I do have a little spreadsheet that Jessica sent me, so thanks to Jessica for doing that, which hopefully will help me keep an eye on the teams. Of course, SMS Racing is pretty much locked in already. With Daniel Dinsdale, Will Lyon, the defending and reigning series champion. Matthew Levine also on the team, 3 drivers. Team Watson Racing, Sebastian Kinder and Joshua Tucker, those 2 racing together, a bit of a merged team. Then we got Spirit Box, which is Thomas Klessens and Brandon Robinson. We got in Crescent IES, Matthias Kraus and Sven von Kano. It is a German name, I'm actually not sure how to pronounce it, hopefully Sven can tell me about that. But Indy Alliance Racing 2 is not the main team, it's Sepp Alexander and David Ulvion. I struggled with that pronunciation the last test race, the last 2 test races on Sunday, so I'm gonna keep trying. 89 Motorsports, Anna Jorfi, who won the first test race at Laguna Seca. Leo Garibaldi in the 2nd seat of the 89 Motorsports team. We got Prima Esports, Hugo Ackerson, who I believe is not racing tonight. Then we got Charity Racing Team by U-Race BR, Cecil Cabral. Then we got Team Talent with Andreas Eich, Masked Devils with Gabriel Amer, or Amer. Piston Crew Esports, Ricardo Manuel Gonzalo. Then we got OCM Racing with Eric O'Connor, Sam Blackwood, Connor Pearson, who is using the number 31, that's my number usually. And yes, I did have to bring it up, Connor, if you're watching this back. Good luck for the race though. And Danny Brennan, who is the 4th and final car on that team. Then we got Team Matzinger, Manuel Gomez Esteban, Jalbarillo Garcia and Christian Lopez. Taylor Mills Racing, Taylor Mills and Sam Moyle. Then the Indy Alliance main team, Connie Naslund, Jesper Orman, or Jesper Urman, as I believe it is pronounced. It's really difficult to do, so I'm gonna go with Jesper, I'm sorry man. Thomas Christensen and Matthew Turner on the IAR main team. Then we got Team Kabuto, which consists of Pablo Schofer, Xavier Heredia, Angel Alcañiz, Carlos Espada. That is the complete team's roster. Up to date, as far as I'm aware. So many drivers registering for the series. And looking at the drivers in the session right now, we have 22, make that 23 drivers in fact, out on track, setting lap times. So nice attendance for a change. We did struggle a little bit with that last season, so it's good to see those numbers back up. Hopefully that's going to stay the same for the rest of the season. Now, I quickly got to look up a little list, but I do want to bring this up. Of course, I'm broadcasting this season again, but it really was looking like for a little while that I wasn't going to do it. Thanks to the following people who have been kind enough to donate some money to get that done. Daniel Dinsdale, Sam Blackwood, Sam Moyle, Thomas Klessens, Sepp Alexander and Thomas Christensen. Thank you so much for donating money that we are able to be on the air here tonight and for the entire season as well. Hopefully without the issues that we experienced in the opening races last time out, but it's thanks to them that we are on here tonight. So once again, my thanks, and also from Jessica and Vilda and everybody behind the PMRL, who of course, all of us, very grateful for that. So about 8 minutes left, 8.5 minutes left in qualifying. Daniel Dinsdale still on that provisional pole in front of Eric O'Connor and Sam Blackwood, who is doing great by the way. Came really close to winning his first race last season at Barber before his wheel disconnected. He did get a podium later on in the season though. So that was actually his first in this league. Can't remember which race it was anymore exactly, it's been a little while. So it's going to take a while to refresh my memory too. But Sam, looking for his second podium, and maybe even his first win. Pace looking very promising right now, at least in qualifying. Like I mentioned in the test races as well, if you do spot any issues with the broadcast, please let me know as soon as possible and I can try to fix it before we take the green flag. So if there's any audio issues, any buffering issues on the stream or whatever, please let me know and I will work on a fix and get that out as soon as I can and if I can. So before we dive into the final 5 minutes of the the qualifying session, let's quickly look at the track information one final time before we take that green flag. It's round 1 of 8, of course, the season opener. 16 corners make the Fuji International Speedway in Fuji, Japan. 16 corners, as I said, 10 to the right, 6 to the left, 37 miles per hour pit lane speed, which is 60 kilometers per hour. Circuit length is 2.8 miles, 4.5 kilometers, and then, of course, as usual on all the road and street courses, on iRacing at least, 10 pushes of push to pass, which are a maximum of 20 seconds per push. And basically what that does is a short horsepower boost to try and aid overtaking. Very similar to ERS or, well, the less aerodynamically involved DRS system, I guess you could also say. It's just to help overtaking in IndyCar. But that's what it's for. And as I also mentioned at the top of the broadcast, turn 1, 3, 6, 10 and 16, the main overtaking opportunities. Of course, a few of those corners you really have to throw it in there and kind of hope the guy behind or on the outside, gives you some space to make that dive bomb work, like in turn 16 and turn 6, for example. But turn 1 should be pretty straightforward with push to pass though. As we look at the schedule one final time as well before we take the green flag, 6 minutes left. Fuji Speedway up tonight, next week Iowa, the week after that Imola, before 2 weeks off until the first and second Triple Crown races. Indianapolis up first, then we go to a road course at Mid-Ohio, then Michigan, a week off, and then Pocono and Road America to cap off the season. So there you go. That is all the information ahead of this race. As we have 5.5 minutes left in qualifying. I'm impressed to see Dinsdale still on the provisional pole though. It's only 4/100ths of a second in front of teammate Will Lyon. But Daniel's been there the entire session, so pace looking very promising right now. Also gotta say, Jesper Orman, he's only 7/10 off, and I know that Jesper is primarily an oval driver, so being this competitive on a road course is pretty good for Jesper. Of course, IR is a very high talented team, but that doesn't mean that some drivers prefer different track types to others, which Jesper does, of course, the ovals, as I mentioned. Alright, we've got 4.5 minutes left. I'm waiting for one of the SMS drivers to go out on track so we can go for a quick onboard lap with one of them, to kind of give you a tour around this place. It's relatively new to iRacing. I think it was only released a month or two ago. I don't think the Indy Open Series has even visited this track, so pretty much no racing experience around this place in this car for anybody, apart from the practices that were hosted yesterday and on Monday. But because of that, it should even the playing field a little bit, and we might see some shake-ups in the running order because of that too. So it's going to be interesting who's going to come out on top in this qualifying session. It could be Daniel Dinsdale or Will Lyon or even anybody else. Field very closely matched right now. Let's actually look at the gaps. You can see the top 16 is separated by top 17 now, 1.7 seconds below that even. So that goes to show how competitive it is, and the top 12 is within 8/10. So I think we're going to be in for a great race here today, as we see a car going off the track. Might have been Manuel Gomez, who is still getting used to the road courses. Manuel is also one of the drivers that is really known for his oval driving. or at least from my side, I know him from the ovals. Alright, let's go for an onboard lap with Daniel Dinsdale around the Fuji Speedway. As we grab the roll bar camera here, onboard. So long straightaway down into turn 1. It's well over 1 kilometer in length. Going into that first corner, you want to brake just after the 100 meter board, slow the car down. Hit that bollard there, that's the apex. Then use all of the track that's possible within the iRacing limits. And this corner right here is left-handed, turn 3. It's very easy to overstep your marks here or even cut the corner, which Daniel does right here. But you really have to take the most speed you can because there's a chunk of time that you can gain or lose right there, as Daniel's trying to get out of the way for his teammate Will Lyon, who will pick up right now. Going through turn 6. 7, 8, and then now into turn 9, which is going to be the braking zone for turn 10 actually. Turn 9 was just the kink before that. It's a first gear hairpin. Then this corner here is all about the setup on the exit. Get the traction that you can. Then here again, take as much speed as you can through the corner. Don't hit the sausage curves on the outside or the baguette strips. Then up the hill, very easy to lose the rear end. The car gets really light as you slow the car down. Then uphill again for the final corner. Trying to set yourself up for the exit as you carry all of that speed down the front straight. As Will Lyon is gonna get some draft of the cars in front. And will this be an improvement to his lap time? It might not be, because of Daniel Dinsdale being a little bit slow on the apex there of turn 5. As Will goes across the line and does not improve. So 1 minute left, as there's a little bit more traffic in front of Will, so that's not ideal as Will spins on the exit of turn 1 too, so that's going to be his qualifying effort complete. As we pick up Eric O'Connor now, going through turn 3, high commitment corner as I mentioned, and this bit right here should be flat out, as Ike loses the rear end as well, so it's going to be his lap over. I don't know whether that's due to tire temperatures or just taking too much speed perhaps as well, but let's see what Dinsdale can do on his final attempt. If he can improve that provisional pole time into turn 10. Setting himself up nicely there for the final sector of the lap. With 20 seconds to go, so once that clock runs out, any driver that starts their laps, before that runs out I should say, are allowed to finish their laps. I think they have 2.5 minutes to do so, which should be plenty of time. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Daniel Dinsdale is going to be the first car to cross the line. Will it be quicker or not? Here he goes across the line, and it is not an improvement. So stays on a 121.886. As we pick up Sam Blackwood across the line right now for OCM Racing. Let's see if he can improve on that P4. And I don't think he improved either, so either the track must be getting slower or the tires just going off. That could be the case as well. Let's quickly look at the weather though. Only 22-degree track temp, so the Reds should hold on just fine for a couple of laps. As Jesper Urman makes his way around turns 14, 15 and 16 and actually just spins out as well. So it must be the Reds overheating, probably due to the extra stress on low fuel. Of course you take much more speed and less weight through the corners, so a lot more load going into them. As everybody else is pulling off the racing surface, so no improvements going to be made. Apart from perhaps Sam Moyle, sounds off the pace to be fair, so I don't think it's going to be an improvement. And it is not indeed. So Eric O'Connor, the final car to cross the line from P5, will stay P5 as well. So no real changes in the final minutes of the qualifying session, which is a big surprise to me. I would have expected the track to be a little bit quicker towards the end of it, but apparently not. So, getting ready for the first race of the season. As I mentioned already, fuel numbers very much unknown. We don't know anything about this car around this place. It's a new track to iRacing, first time for many that they're actually racing here against other people who are similar to their skill level. So turn 1 is going to be very interesting indeed as the cars try to slow down for that first gear hairpin. So we got 13 viewers watching us right now. Hope all is well for you all and you are enjoying it so far. And why don't we do something fun? Why don't you guys throw in your predictions for the top 3? So the podium predictions for the first race of the season. I think I'm gonna go with Dinsdale, who's gonna win. And why not? Sam Blackwood P2, and then Will Lyon is gonna round off the podium. I think that's gonna be my prediction. I know it might be a little bit boring to have Will on the podium, but I think Sam Blackwood on P2 is gonna spice it up quite a bit. As we have cars on the track for warm-up now, so let's take a look at the qualifying results in full. As of course it didn't update there on the top, I apologize, but Daniel Dinsdale is going to lead the field to the green flag, 42 thousandths of a second faster than teammate Will Lyon, who is also the defending champion of this league. Joseph Harker, and I believe his first start is going to start P3. Sam Blackwood alongside him on row 2. Then we have Eric O'Connor and Andreas Eick. Leo Garibaldi and Jesper Urman, who starts P8, less than half a second behind the pole, so very impressive from Jesper. We also got Matthew Levine and Connie Nassen on row 5. Joshua Tucker, who's making his first start here in this league, half a second behind in P11. Then we got Sam Moyle on the outside of row 6. Anna Jorfi and Seb Alexander in row 7. David Ulfheim and Brandon Robinson in the 8th row. Thomas Klessens and Manuel Gomez Esteban in the 9th row. As we scroll further down, if SDK wants to work. Hello? Alright, we don't have SDK with us anymore for just a second. Hopefully that's going to fix itself. We'll come back to the qualifying results later on. As it appears that we have lost SDK Gaming completely for the time being. Really do hope it's going to come back before the green flag. But hope everybody's doing okay with the heat wave in Europe though. It's getting pretty tough out here commentating, but we're going to be trying our best here to get through this race. I know I already worked up quite a sweat just from talking, so I don't want to imagine what the drivers are going through right now in terms of temperatures and everything. Alright, so what I'm gonna do quickly is try to restart SDK Gaming and hopefully we can have the overlays back with us. Alright, load project and we should be back with the overlays. Let's have a quick look if it is indeed back. We got 5 minutes left in the warm-up session though. It's a 10-minute session for the drivers to get to know the race setup again after spending 20 minutes in qualifying trim of course. And there we go, we got the overlays back, perfect. So I apologize about those technical issues, something on SDK Gaming's part, the software that we use. Fantastic overlays though, it has to be said. Check them out for sure. If you're looking to getting into broadcasting. But Connie Naslund at the moment leading race running with a 123.7, which is a pretty solid lap time actually. Considering it's set on a high fuel. Alright, here we go. Back into it for real. So if you're just joining us and you're not familiar with the teams yet, we have 4 minutes and 45 seconds left, so let's go over the teams once again really quickly. We got Crescent IES, Matthias Kraus and Sven Foncano. Indy Alliance Racing 2, Seb Alexander and David Ovio. 89 Motorsports, Anna Jorfi and Leo Garibaldi. Prima Esports, Hugo Ackerson. Charity Racing Team by U-Race BR, Cesar Cabral. Spirit Box, Thomas Klessens and Brandon Robinson. Team Watson Racing consists of 2 drivers, Sebastian Kinder and Joshua Tuckers. SMS Racing is Daniel Dinsdale, Will Lyon and Matthew Levine as usual. No changes on the lineup there since I think it was season 1 or season 2 when one of those guys joined. But Andreas Eich on Team Talent, Masked Devils, Gabriel Amer. Piston Crew Esports, Ricardo Manuel Gonzalo. OCM Racing, Eric O'Connor, Sam Blackwood, Connor Pearson and Danny Brennan. Manuel Gomez Esteban, Jabarillo Garcia and Christian Lopez for Team Matzinger. Taylor Mills Racing, Taylor Mills, the GOAT, and Sam Moyle. We got Indy Alliance Racing with Connie Naslund, Jesper Urman, Thomas Christensen, Matthew Turner, those 4 drivers on IAR. Then we got Team Kabuto, who are the final team on the roster. Pablo Chauffeur, Xavier Heredia, Angel Alcañiz and Carlos Espada. So that is the team's roster for PMRL season number 4. First race of the season. I don't know about you guys, but with those 3 minutes left, my nerves are certainly going up for that turn 1. Lap 1 situation. Not really sure what to expect. We have seen some chaos in turn 1 on the opening lap in some other races in the past. So of course, hopefully for all the competitors, they can make it through cleanly. Alright, we got Thomas Christensen in chat, probably when he was in the garage, saying let's go Julian with 2 fire emojis. Good luck for the race. Got Christian Lopez from Team Matzinger cheering for his teammates. Then we got Devin Clark cheering for Sam Moyle. And we got Alma Hex cheering on Robinson. Of course, Brendan Robinson. Currently 5th fastest in warm-up as we follow Andreas Eich, who has got the 2 SMS Racing teammates of Will Lyon, and I think that is, that's not Daniel Dinson, that's Matthew Levine just in front, locking up. As we now have a 4-car train here with a minute to go in warm-up. Leo Garibaldi though, fastest at the moment, 1:23.201. Which is almost 2 tenths clear of Jesper Urman, so good speed in that 89 car for 89 Motorsports. Hopefully for Leo he can keep it up in the race. Gotta say he was robbed of a test race win at Laguna Seca a few days ago by a lapped car. As we see some drivers practicing their pit entrance. Again, new circuit, new pit entry to practice for as well, as Joseph Harker goes to the top now. About a tenth clear of Garibaldi now on the timing charts. And we are getting closer and closer to the start of this season. Still don't see any predictions in chat though, so let's just say people don't know who's gonna win. It's too difficult to make a prediction. which it might be, to be fair. It's only the first race of the season, but we do have the usual suspects at the top though, at least in qualifying. But alright, warm-up is complete. As we change over into the gridding phase. So, looking at the weather before we go green, 18 degree air temp, 21 degree track temp. So fairly cool for summer standards, which we are racing in. It's the middle of July. But those are the track conditions as we will try to go over the qualifying results again. And which will cover the starting grid right away. Hopefully it doesn't crash this time. Again, overlays by SDK Gaming, by the way. So Daniel Dinsdale and Will Lyon on the front row for SMS Racing. Less than half a second separate the teammates. Then we got Joseph Harker and Sam Blackwood on row 2. Eric O'Connor, Andreas Eyck, row 3. Row 4, Leo Gariboli and Jesper Urman on the 4th row. Matthew Levine, Connie Naslund, Joshua Tucker, Sam Moyle, Anna Jorfi, Seb Alexander, David Ovhium, Brandon Robinson, Thomas Klessens, Manuel Gomez, Esteban, and the rest of the field, as we cannot go lower on the graphic, unfortunately. So we'll have to do with the top 18 for qualifying. Anyways, pace car rolls off as we are gonna get ready for 41 laps around the Fuji International Speedway. First race of the season, first race back for the Prime Meridian Racing League and its drivers as we go through the final sector of the lap. As I mentioned, SMS Racing on the pole and the front row. Reigning teams champions, reigning drivers champions. I think for the past 3 seasons, it has to be said, they have been the dominant force in this league for quite some time. Will the dominance be broken this season? We will have to wait and see as the season will get underway here in the land of the rising sun for the first race of the summer season here in PMRL, season number 4, as the Porsche pace car still has the field behind it. But Daniel Dinsdale qualified on the pole. He will lead the field to the green flag. Once that pace car pulls off, he will be in complete control of the field. Remember though, he can't suddenly slow down or speed up. Once he goes, he has to go. So pace car pulls in. PMRL Season 4 for 2022 Season 2. Fuji Speedway, the season opener, is underway.
Green flag, green flag.
As Dinsdale gets a nice jump off the green flag. Goes into turn 1 in the lead. Doesn't go side by side with his teammate there, so the top 2 already sorting themselves out as we have some carnage in the midfield. I think I saw some smoke there, but everybody apparently making it through cleanly as we go through turn number 3 for the first time. Everybody's still clean and green as we follow Matthew Levine in that midfield. It's always so tricky on that first lap. Those cars going slower in front of you, trying to play it carefully, but Matthew Levine is on the move, trying to make his way through on the 27 of Sam Blackwood into turn 10 as he slows it down, makes up a position up 2 spots from the green flag as we have a car in the background going off. That is Connie Naslund there involved, as well as a few other cars. And I do believe we have a caution on the racetrack. So Connie Naslund with a broken rear wing, as Jabarilla Garcia also involved in that, I think. Not entirely sure on that, but he did make it through without damage, that's for sure. Actually, Jabarilla started from the pits, so it was Carlos Espada that was involved. But going to the front of the field, as the pace car will come out again to pick up Daniel Dinsdale. But an exciting opening lap. Biggest mover right now, Cesar Cabral, up 10 positions from the drop of the green flag as we bring up the timing tower at the end of lap 1. He is the biggest mover from Brazil. In P14, started 24th. Alright, let's have a quick look and see what happened to the drivers involved in that incident. It's already happened here, so let's see if we can go back a little bit further. We're not getting a good angle from this. Alright, let's do it ourselves then. So, I want to follow what happened to Nathan, and that looks really strange. I think he just got rear-ended by somebody. Just need to figure out who. And I think it was Anna Jorfi going into turn 10 way too fast and actually hits Connie right on that rear wing. That's not going to be great for the performance of the car. I think the underfloor is damaged too. As you see, multiple cars getting involved in that too. That's the 42 involved too. Of Carlos Espada there with some front wing damage, and it also looked like some suspension damage for a brief moment. Oh yeah, there it is on the left rear. As he spins out for good measure too, so let's see if we can grab an onboard angle here from Anna Jorfi. And yeah, Connie has to stop on the track to not hit anybody in front, and actually that's one of Connie's teammates in front too with some damage. Let's see if we can find out who that is from. Is that from Seb Alexander? Is he an IAR driver? I don't think he is. No, he's not. It's Jesper Orman with damage to the rear wing. Alright then. So, 2 IAR cars with rear wing damage. Don't think the boss is going to be happy about that, as Jesper still on the track without a rear wing. Actually the pits is not open yet, that explains. I was already confused why he didn't pit, but the pits will be open this time by, so the drivers can take repairs or change up their strategy. But let's take a look at this green flag drop from the blimp. As we go down the main straight, getting past the main grandstand, there is the field. So Daniel Dinsdale leads from Will Lyon into turn 1. There's Eric O'Connor there, going through on the inside there, as there's a car that's being clipped from behind, spins out. And that must be Joseph Harker, who lost 16 positions off the line. As we now follow the IR drivers going through the middle section of this lap. As we have Matthew Levine in the pits, by the way, of your screens, as well as Joseph Harker and Jabrilla Garcia. So tracking Jesper Orman here, going through 7, 8, 9 and 10. Down 300R, this corner is called officially. So downhill on the brakes, field slows down. Jesper actually making a move on the inside there, and gets hit by, is that an SMS car? It's really difficult to tell. I think it is Matthew Levine. It must be Matthew Levine, because Will and Daniel were already at the front, so definite contact there between those two, which really messed up Jesper there, as he's in the pits taking those repairs, and he's on his way again on the blacks. So a lot of chaos on the opening lap here at the Fuji Speedway. And hopefully for Jesper, his car is all fixed now, with the lights on the Porsche pace car out again. So we should be going back to green at the end of this lap. Current top 10 though: Daniel Dinsdale, Will Lyon, Eric O'Connor, Leo Garibaldi, Andreas Eick, Sam Blackwood, Sam Moyle, Joshua Tucker, all the way up into P8. Good start there as well, up 3 spots. Then we got Brandon Robinson up 7 into P9, and David Ovhium up 5 into P10. The biggest mover still, Cesar Gabriel up 12. Biggest loser has to be Joseph Harker. But they're not really changing at all, so it's going to stay pretty consistent as this race will go on. Now I want to quickly go back to see what happened to Joseph Harker here on the start. And side by side with Will Lyon on the run down to turn 1. Actually locks the rears and then I think gets tapped from behind to finish off that whole deal. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a better angle. There's a car on the inside and actually lost it all on himself, it seems, at least from this angle. So that's the reason why Harker lost so much time and so many positions, all the way down to 24th. As we bring the split timing ticker in. We've got 21 viewers right now. That must be a record on the PMRL broadcasts. Glad you could join us for this one, everybody. Hope you are enjoying it. So, if my information is correct, we are going to go green this time by. Field led by Daniel Dinsdale still. As everybody jumps in line. There it goes, the Porsche pace car off again for the second time. Let's see if we can keep this race green for the second time. It is green, green, green from the Fuji Speedway as Daniel once again gets a huge jump off that green flag command as we are underway again. Everybody trying to break the draft right away. That looks really funny on that restart, but Dinsdale leads. Clear track ahead of him as in the back we once again have some positional changes. That is Joseph Harker and Matthew Levine on the move. As we keep tracking the front of the field. Going back to Sam Moyle here in P7. Won the second test race at IndyCar Speedway on Sunday. Once again running very competitively, well inside the top 10. As we have one car looking up the inside front. Very easy to do, downhill braking zone. As you just saw a car in the background, Manuel Gomez also looking up a tire. As we look for some action through the field. Jesper Orman gonna throw it down the inside, I think, for turn 14. And that is one car going wide there. That's Joseph Harker, I think, going off the track. As Jesper gets by, but the first lap under green flag conditions completed. As Dinsdale and Lyons still lead for SMS Racing. Eric O'Connor still in the third position as we go side by side for P3. P4, sorry, Leo Garibaldi getting by Sam Blackwood, who has dropped back to P5 now, as he is under pressure from Andreas Eyck right behind for Team Talent, making another appearance in this series. Missed a few races last season, but is back again for season number 4. Definitely one of the drivers to keep an eye on for the championship at the end of it. Now remember, there's 10 pushes of push to pass, which you can use anywhere on the track for a horsepower boost of up to 20 seconds to try and get by the car in front of you, or of course you could use it as push to defend your position. Could come in handy with the long main straight. And I will get one thing out of the way right away too. If the drivers are smart, they save up one push to pass for the final lap on the run down to the finish line, because it could always come in handy. I remember beating one of my now teammates, Oscar Fredrickson, to the line in a league race at Indianapolis on the road course, because I saved up a push to pass and he didn't, and I got a podium out of that one. So it could come in handy at the end of the race for sure. So everybody right now single file, so not much to really look at. Of course, I will try my best to find any battles going on. Gotta say, Eric O'Connor is doing a fairly decent job to hold on to the gap that he's got to the SMS drivers up ahead. I would have expected the two SMS drivers to pull away a little bit at the beginning. Maybe work together with the draft down the front straight even. Because I do know the race pace from Will Lyon and Daniel Dinsdale is fairly similar too. So they could try to do that, but Will not with a good exit there out of the final corner. Same for Eric O'Connor, by the way, that was terrible off the final corner. Leo Garibaldi gonna line him up for a move. Into turn 1 on the push to pass, Garibaldi is. Pulls out of the draft to the inside of the track. So he will have the inside for turn 1 too. Should be able to make that move stick. Eric though on the outside gonna come back. As Leo squeezes him out to the edge of the track and gains that position up into the podium paying positions. Nice move there by Leo on his first appearance in the league. As Sam Blackwood is slowly pulling away from Ike again, who caught up to him about 2 laps ago after the restart. Look how much time Eric O'Connor is losing right now. I think his reds are just falling away. Especially in the slow speed corners where you really need the traction off. He seems to be losing a chunk of time to the cars around. Phew, my eyes are already tearing up. It's so hot in my room. Can't imagine what the drivers are going through with the heat wave in the EU right now. Well, I say it's a heat wave, it's only for 3 days, but still pretty hot. Temperatures well above 30 degrees Celsius. Which is hot for European standards. Of course, people in Dubai will be laughing at us, but oh well. As we see Lyon blink out for just a second. Sam Blackwood though, right behind Eric O'Connor. Sam probably on the push to pass too. Doesn't go for a move, actually lifts off the throttle there, so I don't think he was on the push to pass. Just trying to save some fuel, go a lot longer maybe. Do that overcut. Now these drivers know much more than I do regarding fuel situation, so you might be looking even at a one-stop strategy from the reds to the blacks. It could just be possible. As we ride on the side pod cam from Sam Blackwood's car. Of course, as Eric O'Connor still just in front. The top 5 within 2.5 seconds. Alright, let's go back to lap 6 really quickly. Anna Jorfi made a move on 2 cars. This is 3 wide down the front straight. Jesper Orman in the middle. And I believe that is Cesar Cabrel there just in the background who just got past. I think he lifted off and just let those 2 go. Anna Jorfi on the inside of Jesper Orman. Anna on the reds, Jesper on the blacks. And Anna completes the pass, moves up 2 spots into what is now P15. So decent move. Let's also go to lap 7. As Joseph Harker gets by Cesar Cabrel on the inside of turn 6. This is the dive bomb that I talked about in the beginning of the broadcast. You can do that down there and completes a very nice move there on the inside. Very, very late on the brakes. So well executed there by the 32. Alright, let's go to laps 7 and 8. As Matthew Levine's also on the move. On the inside of Seb Alexander and also Thomas Kletzen so that later. And he's going to throw down the inside here. Look at this. This is amazing. So late on the brakes. And boom. Into P11 he goes. As we go back live here. Towards the front of the field. Those were the overtakes that we just missed. But we caught up on. As Seb Alexander has just been passed by a car as well. By Connie Naslund, who's gone by. Already pulls away to about a second gap. So Seb definitely struggling on those reds. Anna right behind as well. She's on the move. Remember going 3 wide 2 laps ago. Let's see what she can do down the front straight this time. Here should be on the push to pass. Not yet. So she's going to try to do it with just the draft or the slipstream down the front straight. lifts off the throttle there before the corner. Actually, the car in front, Seb Alexander, makes a slight mistake, and on the inside now, that's going to become the outside for turn 3, and please tell me you're not going side by side here. That's not going to work, as Anna completes it around the outside. Great move, and that will be P13 for the Hungarian. So Seb, as I mentioned, definitely struggling. Look at Jesper Orman now doing that move to the inside of turn 6. He also gets by. So the tyres on that 49 car absolutely shot to pieces right now, as Joseph Harker is now the next in line to try and take advantage of that sudden performance loss of the 49. Just had Joshua Tucker in the pits, out on the blacks in the 77 Let's Race car. As Manuel Gomez Esteban is the final car in the group. Of course, it hasn't pitted yet, as we have word that Carlos Espada has crashed. Or maybe just an off-track excursion. Let's see if we can find what happened to him. Into turn 10. Takes a little bit too much speed, goes through the grass, collects the car, goes for a half spin, but no damage done for the number 42. And he is back on his way again. There he is. Right. Thomas Klessen's in the pits now. Oh, without a front end on the car. I don't know what happened to him. Let's see. Through turn 1 on the exit, loses it, and boom, goes nose first into the tire wall. Suspension damage too, so that's day done for Thomas Klessens, one of the donators, by the way, for the broadcasts. Sad to see his day end like that. Only on lap 11. But Leo Gariboli has gone up into P2, and all of those moves happening right now as we were looking at the replay. And look at this gaggle of cars. Thought there was contact there for a second, but there wasn't, as Anna Jorfi gets oh so close to Jesper Urman just in front. We'll check in with the move for P2 by Leo in just a moment, as Will Lyon is in that draft to try and retake that position. Sam Blackwood also going to the inside of Eric O'Connor in the background. Completes the pass before the braking zone. Moves Sam Blackwood up into P4. And here's the move for P2. Just a lap ago, Leo Gariboli on the inside of Will. Will wisely not fighting it too much, as Leo makes a slight mistake on the brakes there, but still keeps the position. Alright, so let's have a quick look how many push to passes everybody's got left. So Dinsdale and Will Lyon at the front, still 10 pushes left. 7 left for Gariboli, and 9 left for Blackwood until Levine. Then Ulfhielm has got, Levine's got 10, Ulfhielm has got 9, and then Robinson, the final car in the top 10, has still got 10 pushes left as well. So that is the push to pass situation. Ulfhielm and Robinson, the only 2 cars in the top 10 on the primary tires. The rest all on the alternate reds. As Gariboli is losing time to Will Lyon now, and Will Lyon in turn is losing time to teammate Daniel Dinsdale. So the top 3 spreading out a little bit on lap number 13. Closing in on halfway already in this opening round of Prime Radiant Racing League Season 4 at Fuji International Speedway. Joseph Harker in the draft of Anna Jorfi, gonna try to make a move into turn 1. As Anna covers the inside, but Joseph already pulls further to the inside, completes the move without too much difficulty, and moves himself up into P13 now. Manuel Gomez Esteban has just had an off too. Little self spin on lap 12. We'll stay with the race though, as Sam Moyle closing in on Andreas Eich. Andreas was knocking on the door of Sam Blackwood in the beginning phase of this race, but now has fallen back a complete 5 seconds from the 27 car, who's in that lead group of cars. Sam is driving away from O'Connor as well, by the way. 2.5 seconds now, the gap between those two. As Will Lyon starts to close back in again on his teammate. And I wonder when we're going to see a positional change between these two drivers, because at the moment it seems like Will is a little bit quicker. Not by much, but a good tenth or two a second at least. Of a second at least. But for all we know, that could be mostly down to the draft as well, down that huge front straight. Which of course will give you plenty of lap time too. It's effectively free lap time too, because you're driving flat out there anyway. As Will continues to have some FPS, not FPS issues, that's my system having those. Some connection issues. Oh, Brandon Robinson's had an off. Oh, he's gone into the... Actually, oh, now he's gone into the wall. He just reversed into it. Just a little bit of rear wing damage. Probably had a little bit of an off there too by losing the rear end of the car. Let's see. Through 14, that is. Uphill, like I said in qualifying, the rear end of the car gets really loose there and just spins out on the exit with the worn tires too. And tries to reverse and actually hits the wall. That's a little bit clumsy, it has to be said. But luckily no further damage than that to the number 20. As Seb Alexander, who was dropping off a cliff in terms of tire performance, he is also in. Goes from the reds to the blacks after 14 laps. So it is a definite two-stopper then. At least as far as Seb Alexander is concerned at this stage in the race. Currently this is the closest battle on track between the teammates. Will definitely not planning to go by. At least it looks like it, because if he wanted to, he probably would have done it already. Just the way and the ease that he has to stay with Dinsdale is just telling enough that he's got a little bit of a pace advantage on at least Dinsdale. About Garibaldi I'm not so sure, because he's just been following this train too. Might just be saving some fuel too, Garibaldi is in the third position. Let's have a little listen, if we can hear any. Definitely keeping the RPMs low in the middle part of the final sector. Let's see in this final part down the straight what he does. Shifts up the gears like normal. Alright, turn 1, the brake zone is going to tell us the most, I think. As Will disappears again for just a second. Oh, that is a big fuel save. Look at it. Look at it. He's already off the brakes about 100 meters before he actually has to hit the brakes. And also the clutch and coast, of course, into turn 1. You could literally hear him coast into the corner. Trying to save as much as he can. Of course, if you clutch the car, all the revs drop. And you can save even more fuel. It won't be a lot that you save, but it is a little bit. Every bit helps. of course, as usual. So interesting to hear all the lifting and coasting right now, and that's probably the same thing that Lyon is doing in the draft of his teammates. Now I'm not sure if Dinsdale is saving or not, but what I do know is that we have 25 laps to go. We are approaching the halfway point. If you can make it to lap 21, you can do 20 laps to the end as well. It's that simple. Doesn't really take rocket science to figure that out, by the way. I just want to feel smart for once, okay? So 16 laps complete at the line. The top two hasn't changed from position since the green flag. Leo Garibaldi though up 4, Sam Blackwood still in P4 from where he started. Of course he dropped to P5 for just a moment, but then he retook that position from Ike. And O'Connor too, he lost 2 positions. We've got O'Connor and Ike in 5th and 6th. Then we've got Sam Moyle up 5 in P7. As I mentioned, won the Other Club Speedway race on Sunday. That was on an oval though, completely different track type to this. But Sam, once again, doing well. Definitely showing improvement. Matthew Levine up 1 spot into P8. David Ulfhielm into P9. And Joseph Harko, who had that incident, or I guess you could say, moment of clumsiness in turn 1, lap 1, where he lost so many positions. Back up into P10. And then Cesar Cabrel dropped 2 spots again. He was up 12 spots for a brief moment a few laps ago, but drops to 14th. Still up 10 though, still the biggest mover. So definitely on a good run, the Brazilian driver. Then we got the Swiss Sven from Canel in the 15th position. He and his teammate over in VOR, Matthias Kraus, had a good race in Phoenix. Apart from the final lap for Matthias. We're not going to talk about that. But definite sign of improvement for those two over there. And I wonder if those two are going to keep their momentum up in this league. Let's see if Sven can make a move. Into turn 1. You can already see Sven lifting off, so definitely saving fuel as well. It's really interesting though, a lot of drivers seem to be doing this. Then it makes me wonder, the people that did pit like 5 laps ago, if they couldn't save it, or if they simply chose not to save it and just wanted to go flat out. Because if we look at the last pit lap from everybody, Seb Alexander pitted on lap 14, Brandon Robinson pitted lap 14, Manuel Gomez pitted lap 14. Then you have a few people that pitted under the yellow, like Matthew Levine, Joseph Harke, Jesper Urman, Conny Naslund, and also Anna Jorvians, who have an ambulance driving by. But those people all pitted under the caution, so their fuel window will be extended by a lap or 2, which will help you, but it won't be night and day of a difference, because we ran those laps under caution anyway. So it's interesting to see what was choice or by force in terms of fuel saving. Maybe we can find it out on the Discord in the interviews or whatever. Of course after the race, not whilst these people are driving. As we have one car, I think, pulling off into the pit lane. That is Cesar Cabrel from P14, going to give up that position on the blacks with 22 laps to go. Now that is just outside the window to make it on 1 stop, unless Cesar is going to try to save fuel on the reds, which is opposite of what you would expect. But car up the jacks, tires going on, fuel going in, goes back out on the blacks, which is interesting. So he must be on a 2-stop, because there is a definite rule in the league that you have to use both compounds of tire. Alright, we got more people into the pits. Ulfium is the next one to pull off for Indy Alliance Racing 2. That's the team name. So he did 20 laps on the fuel tank, and the leaders are still out, the top 7, who haven't pitted at all yet. So they will be doing that one stopper for sure. As Ulfium goes to the reds, pulls away. And the top 4 still within 2.5 seconds of each other. Sam Blackwood chilling 1.4 back though from Garibaldi, so it's really the top 3 with Sam Blackwood just trying to hang on to that with the drive down the front straight. But these are the top 3 closest cars on the track too at the moment. Let's see which one of these cars is going to come into the pits. Daniel going to the inside, will also go to the inside, so actually we only see Dinsdale pit and also Garibaldi who's going to follow Dinsdale in as they just slow down before the pit line, I think. That would be a way to mess up your race if you're leading. Scott Dixon, Indianapolis 500. But I think they're both good. Didn't look like they sped into the pits at least. So let's see what tires go on the cars. If it's another set of reds, which would mean a 2-stopper probably, or the blacks to go to the end. It's blacks for Garibaldi and also for Dinsdale, I believe. Yes, it is. Eric O'Connor in 2. Andreas Eick also in, Matthew Levine, Sam Moyle. All those cars that stayed out under the yellow all came into the pits now to get rid of their tires. And they are all going to the blacks, it seems. Except for Levine. Did he start on the blacks or on the reds? I can't really tell. Let's see. Oh, he's going back to another set of reds, which is interesting. Alright, so he's on a 2-stopper then. But the rest of the field back out, which now means that Will Lyon is out in the lead, followed by Sam Blackwood and Joseph Harker. But Harker already pitted. So did Urman, Naslund and Jorfi, who all pitted under the yellow. But Lyon and Blackwood now into the pits to get their stops in, as the sun seems to be setting already, which is odd. Approaching 5 p.m. sim time. Hopefully visibility is not going to be an issue towards the end stages of this race, as we have more cars coming in. I think that's Eric O'Connor in the background. It's not actually. That is Harker. That's who the car was that I saw going into the pits. Cars look a little bit similar from the front angle, but Will Lyon off and away, so is Sam Blackwood, both also going to the blacks. And here is the race of the pits. Will Lyon rejoins the racing surface in front of teammate Daniel Dinsdale. Dinsdale though, on the warmer tires, should be able to put on some pressure on Will, on the outlap for Will that is. You can just see the visible speed difference there, as Dinsdale drives right around the outside there of turn 5 into turn 6, completes the moves back into the race lead. But Sam Blackwood though also moved up a spot into P3 ahead of Leo Garibaldi, as Ulfium is in the top 10 now due to the pit cycles. But Sam trying to defend the inside from Leo on the cold tires, remember too, just like Will. Locks the inside front, but side by side now through turn 11 and 12. Sam still holds on to the inside line. Let's see if he can keep up that position. Gotta squeeze him out wide here, which he cannot because the car's alongside. Leo to the inside now for the next corner, and now there should be move complete for Leo, who moves back up into P3. And all of that squabbling means that the SMS drivers now have a 3-second advantage at the front, with Leo now moving back into P3. As Leo tries to break the draft from Sam, who picks up the draft. Gonna have a little peek to the inside, but doesn't go for any moves, which is probably wise. Oh, we've got Harker having a look up the inside of Matthew Levine. Thank you, Jessica, for dealing with the bots in chat. I appreciate that. It's something annoying with YouTube these days. There's just so many fake accounts spreading links and viruses and everything. It's just annoying. We've got a move for position between Tucker and Nasser on lap 23 for P12 though, so let's have a quick look at this. As Tucker actually gets by on the pit cycle there. And there is a car just in front making a move on Sam Moyle though. I think that was over him. Yes, it was. Right there. As Sam Blackwood and Leo Garibaldi going side by side down the front straight into turn 1. Sam on the outside. I almost wanted to say high side. Through turn 1. Let's see who comes out on top here. Sam on the inside for turn 3. Remember, this is the high commitment corner. You can't go side by side. And Sam moves in front as Leo, almost loses the car. Great save though by Leo to hold on to that car. That was almost disaster there for the number 89. Almost at 98, can't read numbers anymore. But great save by Leo. Doesn't even lose that much time, which is impressive too. The gap is up to 1.2 seconds now. Those are probably some overheating tires for Leo. So he has to cool those back down again. As we've got 17 laps to go in the first race of the season. If you aren't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure that you do, to not miss any Prime Radiant Racing League action for this season. Of course, next week we go to Iowa Speedway for the first oval event of the season. It's also the first and only short oval of the schedule, as we have a car looking up the inside front, as is pretty much usual right now. That's a lapped car. I think that is Cesar Cabrel. It is not. Thought it said 70 for some reason. It's actually the 42 of Carlos Espada getting out of the way. And also teammate Angel Akanyi's Poncho getting out of the way. So lap traffic being a factor in this race right now. And that is actually Carlos just in front. They just got by Angel. So Will back in front. After this pass for the race lead on lap 25 into turn 1, Daniel doesn't really fight it too hard. Will goes later on the brakes, completes the move, very nice and clean. Unlike the season opener last season. And Barber, as we have a car off, that is... Please don't tell me that's Cesar Cabrel. Oh, it is Cesar Cabrel. Had a great run going, was up 12 spots at one point. But now has got suspension damage on the left front. I don't know what happened there, but Brandon Robinson coming into the pits might have had something to do with it. I am not exactly sure on that. I do see that they were together though, so let's have a quick look at this. That's already happened here. Oh! Ah, so Caesar lost it there. Out of turn 6, I think it is. Wild guess. No, it's turn 4. And then Robinson just collected him and had nowhere to go. So let's look at this in slow-mo. There's Robinson going through turn 3. That is turn 3. There it is. As Caesar goes too wide, hits that baguette strip, whatever you want to call it, on the outside line. Car launches up in the air, loses control. Cesar Cabrel does. And the 20 of Brandon Robinson nowhere to go and gets collected in that. Has to come into the pits for front wing, for a front wing replacement. Sorry, and that's gonna put Caesar close to a lap down, if not a complete lap down. It is a lap down for Cesar Cabrel, unfortunately. So had a great run going, just had to come to an end with 16 laps to go there. As we go back to the front, Will Lyon and Daniel Dinsdale. Still out in front, Sam Blackwood in that third position. 3.6 behind, he is on course for a podium. And I will not complete the sentence I was about to say because I don't want to jinx him. But hopefully for Sam he can pull it off. As we still have 17 people with us watching. Glad you all could join us tonight for the first race of PMRL season number 4. First time ever racing at Fuji. And so far it's been a pretty solid race, plenty of overtakes that we've seen, either through the replay or live. Let's see the last lap that the top 8 pitted. So Will Lyon, lap 22, he stayed out a lap longer than Dinsdale. Blackwood did the same as Will Lyon. Then Garibaldi, O'Connor and Ike all pitted at the end of lap 21. Then there's another one for lap 22, which is Joseph Harker, who also pitted under the caution on lap 2. And the same for Matthew Levine, but just a lap earlier on that second stop. The top 4 though definitely with a bigger pace advantage than the rest of the field. Alright, we got a battle between Matthew Levine and Jesper Urman. It's so difficult to pronounce that name, I'm really trying, Jesper, sorry. Of course, if you remember from the start, Jesper had a rear wing damage, had to get that repaired under the caution. That's why he pitted twice already. All the way back up into P9, so the pace definitely there in the number 2 IAR car. Which is very promising for the remainder of the season for Jesper, of course, as he looks to put on a championship challenge against the SMS Racing drivers. As O'Connor has some lapped traffic in the way, which he will line up for the exit of the final corner. Moves out of the way nicely there. That is Espada, I think it is, and yes it is indeed. Hopefully for Ike, he will also move out of the way, which he will. Plenty of space to do that here. And doesn't actually move out of the way, which is a surprise to me, so Andres is going to send it up the inside. And gets by the lapped car of Espada. As Urman gets by Levine as well for P8. Locks up the front though again. Urman is on the inside, the right side. But holds on to that position. And actually Urman is now back to the position where he started the race in. Which is pretty solid, considering he had damage on lap 1, which I will take you guys back to in just a second, as we watch Levine looking to make a move, doesn't. Alright, let's go back to lap number 1. Oh, big stack up there in the back of the field. I'm not sure what this is about. That would also explain why everybody lost so much time. Anyways, the drop of the green flag, the race starts. Of course, Dinsdale started from the pole, led the field into turn 1, followed by Will Lyon. As that is Joseph Harker locking the tires there, goes for a half spin, loses plenty of time and many positions too, as there's chaos in the back. And we focus on Jesper Ehrman right here. He's one of the cars that was involved in that lap 1 carnage in turn 10. As we go through turn 4 here first. Instead of Sam Blackwood losing those positions to Ike. And also Levine having a look here on the blacks. So going into turn 10, this is where the incident happened, as I said. Goes in there without many issues there, and then that is Levine clipping that rear wing of Jesper Ehrman, and then that is Anna Jorfi in the background hitting Connie Naslund in the back too. So that's why the 2 IAR cars had to pit on lap 1 for damage. As you can see the rear wing flapping around for Ehrman right there. So that's what happened on lap 1. As we go back live here, nothing really happened in the last few laps, which allowed us to go there for a quick replay. As Ehrman is now in the pressure from Levine again. As Levine is right in the gearbox of the number 2 car. Doesn't go for a move yet though, so probably just wants to time it right with the draft and actually saves fuel, which is interesting with 10 laps to go. But alright. Not really sure if I understand that call by Matthew Levine. But perhaps he is just trying to time his move with a few laps to go. Maybe even on the run up to the line, who knows. But sun is starting to set in the land of the rising sun, which sounds really weird in a sentence. Will though getting under some slight pressure from teammate Dinsdale as we have 4 cars on the main straight about to be put a lap down. As Will tries to break that draft, 9 laps to go. I don't think there's any team orders anymore. I think it's going to be a race to the finish from here. As we go through 100R into turn 4, downhill braking zone. That's actually turn 6. So confusing though. We have these long sweeping corners and sometimes you don't even know where you are anymore around the track. Doesn't take away from the enjoyment of this track though. It's a pleasure to drive and also to look at. As that is, I think the 24 moving out of the way of the leaders. Alright, Ehrman gets held up a little bit by lap traffic. That's going to open the door for Levine to maybe make a move. Certainly closes the gap though on the reds. Should have some more grip. Going to take a wide entry to the corner. Then cut back to the inside, straighten up the exit. Gets a good run off the final corner. Picks up the draft. Is this going to be a move for position? It just might be. Let's see. Jesper breaking that draft. Levine again seems to lift off a little bit. And now lifts off completely. So I don't think Levine is good to go to the end on fuel, which is interesting. Because I believe he is one of the cars that pitted on lap 22. No, he's not. That's Jesper. So Jesper good to go to the end. Levine apparently not, as he is actually looking to get by there on the inside. I'm not sure why he is being so aggressive trying to look for a way past when he can just do it on the main straight. He's been close enough plenty of times, so I'm not really sure what Matthew is doing right now. Again, lifts off. Weird. As we go back to the leaders though. a full second between the teammates with 7 laps to go. So this could also be Dinsdale throwing in the towel, deciding P2 is a good points day. Of course, it's an 8 race season. Any points that you can get, you should always try to take home. You don't know, maybe Will miss a race, Daniel won't. Don't believe there's any drop weeks for this season, so if you miss a race, you're basically in Will Lyons' case, you're gonna be missing 50 points in the championship tally. But Dinsdale definitely doing what he has to do. Just take home those points. And if he can, he will take a win. But won't risk a good finish for that, which is very smart driving. Some more laps, traffic in the way for Urman it seems. Hopefully this car moves out of the way. Okay, ooh, that was close. At least it looked like it for a split second there. I don't know what that car was doing, it just stopped on the outside of the track. That looked very strange, to say the least. But no issues for the leaders though, as they continue to battle for position. As now Urman is weaving all the way down the straight to try and break that draft. Let's see if Levine goes for it this time. No, again, lifts off, still saves fuel. Urman goes wide though. So Levine will get a better exit off of turn 2 and into turn 3, but of course, as I mentioned 2 or 3 times now, this is such a high commitment corner, there's no way that you can make a side-by-side through there without going extremely slowly, of course. So yeah, next week, the first oval race of the season at Iowa. 180 laps on the schedule, I believe it is. Before we go to Imola, which is the second and final road course race in the EU, by the way. We have 2 quote-unquote European races, of course this being in Japan, but it's a Formula 1 circuit, so I guess you could say it's a European kind of style race. And then we go to Indianapolis after a 2-week break. After Imola, of course. Then we go to Mid-Ohio, Michigan, Pocono, and then the final race at Road America. Gotta say though, I'm expecting some good pictures by Vilda. Sam Blackwood gets into Manuel Gomez Esteban, who was so slow on the exit of, I believe it is turn 6, as Manuel's still facing backwards on the exit of turn 6. Now, did Sam's damage get repaired magically? I think it did. He's 6 seconds in front of the car behind though, so he might just be okay, but that looked really strange. And that might be something race control has to have a look at, because Manuel was so slow here, and then he slows down again on the exit of the corner. Sam just nowhere to go and hits Manuel in the back, and then there's another car that goes by as well. But hopefully for Sam he didn't pick up too much damage. Don't see any performance drop off right now though, so I think he got away with it. As Will Lyon now pulls away to 1.4, almost 1.5 seconds from teammate Daniel Dinsdale, who started on the pole. Will started alongside him on the second position. But Sam though still running on course for a podium. Very solid race so far. And I think Sam got a heart attack from Manuel Gomez a lap ago. He was probably thinking like, oh man, not another podium that's going down the drain. But he's still in the hunt for one, so hopefully for him, he can keep it together. as Leo Garibaldi on course for a 4th place on debut. Eric O'Connor still running in 5th where he started, same as Andreas Eick in P6. Harker though dropped 4 positions officially, but remember that he was pretty much last at the end of lap 1 because of that brake locking into turn 1 at the start. So to go from last to 7th, it's pretty impressive. Good pace as well from number 32, so hopefully for him as well he can keep it together. Jesper Ehrman back up into P8 after damage on lap 1. Levine, I think the same can be said for him too, up into P9 again. Of course Ehrman got helped by the yellow and so did Harker. And Moyle rounds off the top 10 at the moment, up 2 spots. Sam, if you're watching this, please tell me your pronouns, because I think I said he in the test race. I want to know if that's correct. But 3 laps to go for Will Lyon, defending PMRL champion for 3 or 4 seasons in a row. Honestly, I've lost count how many championships he has in this league. I don't think he even knows. Or maybe just about. But I can confirm Sam Blackwood did not take any damage from that incident with Manuel Gomez, because Sam is actually keeping up pace with the leaders and pulls away from Garibaldi behind. So no real threat from behind for Sam. He can just drive it home and take his 2nd PMRL podium with now 2 laps to go. Of course, also if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you leave a like on the broadcast if you are enjoying it. If you don't, you can always leave a dislike, whatever you see fit. But we've got Connie Naslund making a move on Sam Moyle. I think that it is actually full position. Connie moves up into P10. Want to get another look at that, if we can, before this race is over. Connie with a good run off the final corner, picks up the draft, probably on some push to pass as well, and completes the move with relative ease down the straight. So white flag is out for Will Lyon. He's got a 2nd advantage on teammate Daniel Dinsdale. So 1 tour around the Fuji Speedway to go, and it is going to be another SMS Racing 1-2. In a race that saw most of the action happen in the beginning, with that yellow of course as well. Did see some good moves in the middle part of the race, but towards the end all the action kind of settled down as everybody got into a nice rhythm. And everybody kept their noses clean pretty much since then. But another great performance by Will Lyon. For the Indy Open Series racing for Indy Alliance Racing, his unofficial teammates in P8 and P10. But for SMS Racing it's going to be another 1-2 as I mentioned. So many 1-2 finishes these guys have, and it's going to be another one out of the final corner. Will Lyon from 2nd on the grid is going to win the opening round of Prime Meridian Racing League's 4th season. Across the line he goes. He wins from Daniel Dinsdale, who finishes P2. A 1-2 for SMS Racing. Then we have to wait just 6 seconds for Sam Blackwood to come across the line in P3, sorry. 6 seconds back, and it is his 2nd podium in PMRL. Leo Garibaldi finishes P4 on his first appearance in the league too. Great result for him, as Eric O'Connor finishes less than 6 tenths behind in P5. Andreas Eick home in P6. Then we got Harker in 7th, Ehrman in 8th. And we just have to wait for Levine and Maslin to come across the line to round off the top 10. And just like that, the first race of the season already in the books. Samuel comes across the line in P11. Anna Jorfi is going to finish P12. Of course, she went 3 wide down the main straight in the beginning of the race. 1 or 2 laps after the restart. Ulvium finishes 13th, Tucker 14th, Alexander 15th. Van Kennel, Garcia, Espada, Cabral and Poncho all finish a lap down with Gomez Esteban. Multiple laps down, probably called it quits after that incident with Blackwood. About 6 laps ago, before that finish. But that is the first race of the season done and dusted. So let's quickly go over the rest of the schedule. Of course, Iowa next week, then we go to Imola, then we have 2 weeks off for admin holidays before we return for Indianapolis, Mid-Ohio and Michigan, then a week off until Pocono and Road America cap off the season. Of course, as always, check out Voppzy iRacing Paints on Instagram for your iRacing paint needs. Amazing liveries done by Vilda Wallin herself. So check it out, Vilda Voppzy lowercase iRacing on Instagram. And let's see. Hey guys. Doesn't seem like they can hear me. Hello, can you hear me now, guys? Will, are you here? Alright, we'll come back to you guys in just a moment. So, the SMS Racing drivers still soaking in the race results. We'll talk to them in just a minute. Of course, let's go back to the opening lap to see what happened there. Of course, it was quite a chaotic one. And so much happened even that I really have to scroll all the way to the top to find it. So, looking from the green flag, Din still started from the pole. Of course. As Will Lyon slots into second there off the line. We had Harker there in the third position, sorry, locks the tires, loses the car, loses plenty of positions too. And there you can see him just at the top of the screen losing all those positions. And later on in the lap, we also had some incidents involving multiple cars, as this is another look at Harker locking those tires. Look just how much of a mess it really was in the midfield. But let's go to that incident into turn 10 with all those cars involved with damage. And there it is. Just look at all the debris flying around, and that really messed up the races. Really before they even started for a number of drivers, including Ehrman, who had to fight back with damage, but did really well in doing so. Still finished P8. Of course, everything else kind of went from there. But it was a really good race to watch. But
it's map 6 and 7.
Alright, hello guys. Sorry
Hello.
to interrupt you there, Will. Right, let's start with the interview. Sam, you're up first. Finished third.
Oh.
I believe that's your second podium in the league. Congratulations.
Yeah, last podium was Watkins Glen. Ironically also behind Will, but you know, what can you do against a god?
I mean, if he wins every race, you're always going to be finishing behind him, right? But
True,
a great
true.
result from you. Just talk us through your race. I mean, of course, that first lap chaos, I guess. How did you get through that and the rest of the race?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. I'm just looking back at the replay now. I think I nearly got wiped out at turn 1 from, I think it was Harker, locking up massively and setting up a smoke screen for everyone else. Myself and Eric were using map 5 for fuel strats to make sure that we got to. We're going to do a one stop regardless of how long the race was going to be. So I was sitting in Mat 5 just getting swamped, cold tyres into the hairpin. I think Jasper might have used push to pass or something because he just went off on me straight up. I think it was... I'm just looking back at the replay. Yeah, Levine hits the back of Orman, and I think it sends me like up into the air a little bit. But yeah, after that it was just sort of conserve the tyres, overtake who I can, and just basically aim for a top 5, and luckily enough I managed to get a top 3 out of it.
Well, it's nice to know that you took a flat. I actually completely missed that. I'll have to bring up a replay from that in just a moment. But still a great way to start the season, top 3. I don't have any better questions to ask you. So how about your goals for this season? Any expectations?
Probably at least try and win one race. Maybe that could be it. It'll probably be... I'll try and win at Imola. How about that? Let's try and win at Imola and get us a little bit further up there. For the season, probably just try and stick with top 3. I want to stick with the SMS guys throughout the season. Make it seem like there's actually another team here to challenge for a title instead of just everyone else following the SMS guys.
Well, it will be good to see you up there for sure. It was really good to see you up there today. So hopefully that momentum can keep up for the rest of the season. But let's move on to Dinsdale. Daniel, you finished P2 today. You started from the pole, lost the lead to Will at the pit stops, and then you retook that position. But talk us through that battle with Will and also the way that you managed the race.
Yeah, it was a good race. I think Will always says that other people are faster than him, but I just felt like he had the pace on me slightly. And in the first stint, I was trying to save at the front and thought that everyone was going to pit on the same lap as me, and then realised that people like Sam and Will had saved another lap, which was going to help them in the second stint. And I think at that point, I knew I was pretty much done and dusted because I just couldn't, even if like Will had a bad lap, I just was saving absolutely everywhere to try and make it to the end. And I did manage to take the position, and then I think Will sent one up the inside into turn 1 when I was lifting and coasting, and yeah, it was a great move. But it was good. I was close, but I just didn't at one moment think I was ever going to be able to get close to Will. I think he was safe.
Yeah, I guess that's just the pain of leading. It's really similar to Indianapolis in a way, because if you're out in the front, you're just cutting the air for the cars behind. But still, great job to hold on to that strategy and make it work to finish P2. It's a long season, so plenty of time to really make up that ground in the championship.
Yeah, definitely. It's just hard because against Will, you got to make every race count when he's not off in the distance. So it's a bit frustrating. But yeah, there's Imola to come, which will be interesting.
Well, if you really need to, you can always pull a Barber, right? So.
I think Will pulled the Barber. I'm going to go that way around rather than me. But
you can do it on Will. All right. Well, let's move on to the race winner then, Will. It's another win for you. I'm just going to go with the same boring question. Please talk us through your race because, I guess you could better do the talking than I could.
Yeah, didn't have the pace in qualifying. I did manage to get a toe on my final attempt, and then got a bit of dirty air and wasn't able to put it on pole. But if I had done it, it would have been just because I had the toe down the straight. So didn't really have the pace. But yeah, first stint was all about just not getting taken out in the first corner. And Dan played the team game, so he gave me the slipstream all the way down, which helped me keep P2 and not get murdered. So that was great. And then we were both fuel saving in that first stint. I don't think either of us realised that Dan was fuel saving to get 1 lap of safe fuel, and I was trying to get 2 laps of safe fuel. But obviously, with me being behind him, it meant it was quite a lot easier for me to hit that number to save the 2 laps. So yeah, put on the primaries and they were just stone cold. So Dan got past me, no problem at all. And then with him lifting and coasting, I just put my nose down the inside at turn 1, and that was it really. I was just absolutely flat out at the end, using all my push to pass. I felt really comfortable on the alternates. I was, I know there's a big toe here, but I was able to keep up right on Dan's gearbox for most of the stint. But on the primes in the second stint there, I didn't have any pace. I couldn't get the car rotated, so I couldn't get rid of Dan, even though he was fuel saving for the vast majority of the stint. So yeah, good result, 1-2, great for the team. I'm going to probably miss Iowa, and I think Dan is as well. So it was important to capitalize and get as many points as possible.
I was actually just talking about that as well in the broadcast, if one of you guys missed the race or not. But that's going to be really interesting for the championship overall, but that's for the rest of the season for us to find out. But anyway, congratulations on the win, on the 1-2 for you, Will and Daniel, on the great team result. And Sam, once again, congrats on the P3. Go out and celebrate, guys. And well, apart from you, Daniel and Will, we'll see you guys all at Iowa next week.
Cheers, William.
All right, so that's going to wrap up the interviews as well. It's going to wrap up the first race of the season. It's been a pretty chaotic start to the season on the opening lap, but it was all worth it at the end of the race with some great racing going on, especially that 3 wide moment there down the main straight after the restart. But as said, Iowa is up next before we go to Imola, which Sam Blackwood will be trying to win. We're going to keep him to that, but we got 2 weeks off until Indy, Mid-Ohio, Michigan, and then another week until Pocono and Road America. So let's give our final thanks to Voppzy iRacing Paints. Voppzy lowercase iRacing on Instagram is the place to be for your iRacing paints. And of course, I want to thank everybody for watching and all the admins behind PMRL for allowing me to broadcast this, as well as the donators who made it all possible. So once again, thanks for watching, and see you all next week for the second race of the season around Iowa Speedway. Take care, guys.